until the 23rd, we're doing a one-of-a-kind and an amazing event called Release, Revive, and Realign. And in these 3 days, we're going to be able to transform, shift, crack, break open, whatever it is. But on top of that, we're going to learn a little bit about gratitude. And with that, I want to introduce you to Napoleon, and he has the Gratitude Network. Napoleon, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you, Mikhail. Thank you for having me.
Thank
I
you for
appreciate it. It's
Of
good to see
course.
you in that beautiful stage. Amazing.
Your
Only
stage.
you could have such flair. I love those crystals, those angel wing crystals. I've
Thank
seen them I haven't seen them in a long time, actually.
Well, you're going to be coming up on stage here
Yeah.
and really lighting it up for people worldwide is going to be seeing this. And really about, you had such a beautiful experience learning about gratitude and shifting that you created pretty much an amazing empire and then passed it forward by creating a network of gratitude. Well, you explain it.
Yeah. So, it's funny. I've been doing gratitude work for the last 20 years. But I've done a lot of stuff over the last 20 years. When I first moved to LA, I came here from South Beach. Uh, what happened was, and I'm not from Medellin, this is just a shirt that a friend of mine designed, and I got one in when I was in Colombia, in Medellin, a couple years ago.
Beautiful.
Anyway, so here's the thing. I've been doing all this gratitude work. I had mentors that would tell me about this gratitude. That you need to do gratitude. You need to do gratitude. Blah blah blah. And I would write lists and all of this, right? And I read every spiritual book. I read every author. I mean, from Eckhart Tolle to Gary Zukav to Brian Weiss. I mean, you name it. And I read all these articles. I read all these books. I went to every transformational seminar out there. I went to the Landmark Forum, to LifeSpring, to the Sterling Man, all of these different transformational seminars. And there was always this like, yes, I'm gonna do this. My life's gonna change, and all of this, all throughout the last 20 years, right? I went to every spiritual circus that ever came into town. Oh, Wayne Dyer's coming. I'm in. I'm there. Deepak Chopra's coming. I'm there. I've seen the Dalai Lama twice. Um, you know, and then, knowing all of this, and I knew a lot. And I read people like Judah Krishnamurti, who is an Indian philosopher, mystic, who very few people know. But, I read Judah Krishnamurti because I wanted to impress you about all the knowledge that I had. But all the knowledge that I had availed me nothing, because in the end, it is not about knowing, it's about being. And I didn't know that. I used to watch these things. I used to be at the seminars, and I grasped a lot of information. And I grasped and I absorbed a lot of information. What I didn't know was that all that information, and you can say, I am abundant. You can do all the affirmations that you want. But until you start acting from that standpoint, nothing's going to change. And that's the realization that I came to when 6 years ago, I was in the worst moment of my life, which turned out, in hindsight, the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I had started a company. I had launched a tech startup 7 or 8 years ago, and it was failing. I was about to lose everything. I had raised money from investors, and we were running out of money. And I maxed out my credit cards, and I put all the money into the company. I took out second mortgages on some real estate that I own, and and I put it all on the line, all my savings on the line. And then I still couldn't raise any more money. And then one day I get an eviction notice from my house, and I thought, oh my God, I can't be homeless with my 6-year-old son. This is going to scar him for life. And that's all I could think about. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to commit suicide so that my son can get the life insurance policy.
Oof, I hear you.
And if you have children, you know what I'm talking about. That there's a moment there in your life where you're willing to give it all up for your kid. And to me, it wasn't even, you know, that's basically what I got to. And what happened was that I ended up going through this experience and, you know, realizing that, you know, I talked to a friend of mine who had lent me some money and I couldn't pay him back. And I was ashamed of that because I am my word, and I do what I say I'm going to do in the time that I'm going to do it in the time that I say that I'm going to do it in. And what happened was that I got down on my knees and I said, if there is a God, because at this point, anything is, I'm open to anything. I'm open to the devil. I'm open to Satan. I'm open to sacrificing goats in my living room. I'm open to anything at this point. I'm out of answers. And I got down on my knees and I said, if there is a God, show me a different way because my way is not working. And that absolute surrender, and immediately my eyesight went to this gratitude work that a friend of mine had given me a couple of months before. And I started doing this gratitude work, like my life depended on it. And I started doing it and doing it. And 3 weeks into it, I meet John McAfee. Well, I don't want to say his name. An internet pioneer who ends up agreeing to become my partner. And then a few weeks later, I raised $25,000. And then a few weeks later, I raised $500,000. And all my friends are going, oh my God, Napoleon, it's the gratitude work. Oh my God, can you send me the exercises? And I said, yeah, I'll send you the exercises. And so in February of 2015, I started this text group, this gratitude text group, where I would send my friends these exercises every night, and we would all do them the following day. And what happens is that when I was doing that, I started doing them, and I was like, yes, you know, and I wanted to prove to myself that the reason why I got this money was as the result of this gratitude work. So I set out a goal to make it so, like, to give me proof that the reason why I got that money was as a result of this work, right?
I remember
Be-
that time in your life.
because, yeah, because I wanted to, because when people would tell me, oh my God, it's a gratitude work, oh my God, I would say, yes, yes, it is. But in the back of my head, there was this little voice that would say, maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe we just got lucky. And because we are wired, by the time we're 7 years old, we've made up stories about who we are and how life is by the time we're 7 years old.
That's right.
I didn't know that. I started studying the brain at that moment. I started studying the brain. And I learned that we make up our minds by the time we're 7. And the more things happen in our lives, the more entrenched our beliefs become. So the older we become, the more difficult it is to change. So that's why it's so difficult for many of us to change. So I learned that anything that you do every single day for 3 cycles of 21 days or more will rewire your brain. So in other words, 63 days is when you actually start creating new neural pathways. Now the brain will rebel against this. the brain will say, no, 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 we don't want to change. We are so afraid and blah, blah, blah. And the fear sets in, right? So what you do is in these is that you do this work, this gratitude work, and you do it consistently every single day. You can't miss a day. I hate to say it, you can't. And you know, the brain will sabotage it, and it will sabotage it in ways that we never expect, right? My brain used to tell me, oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's okay. Go to sleep. You've been working all day. This thing doesn't work. You'll do it twice tomorrow. This thing, it's already been 25 days you've been doing it. And what happened? Nothing has happened. Blah, blah. And all this chatter, right? And it is so insidious. So insidious. It's so what I learned was that I created a routine so that I wouldn't forget to do it. So you create a routine. You do it at a certain time every single day if you can. If not, you do it when you can, but just put it in your calendar and you keep doing it. So I started doing it, and then and it's gratitude, being grateful for things in advance. And not only being grateful for things in advance, but visualizing them, having them, and feeling how you would feel once you have them. Visualizing and feeling it, and feeling it and visualizing it. What
Okay.
happened was
What happened
that,
was,
I'm sorry,
what happened was, it's a
what
sneak.
happened was that
It's
I
a
started visualizing $2 million based on a $20 million valuation for my company.
ah.
And 6 months later, I raised it $2 million based on a $20 million valuation against everybody's opinion, against everybody's belief system. I was laughed out of meetings all throughout the process.
Of course.
And I learned that the universe is always working for my benefit. And
Exactly.
only the people who are supposed to be there at the end, when those $2 million happen, are the people who are meant to be there. No one else.
Aligned with you. Aligned.
Ups who are aligned with me. Exactly. I didn't know that. All these people that I went to meetings in Silicon Valley where people would laugh at me and would throw me out of their offices, and they would laugh at me. And it was, you're delusional. They would call me delusional. And I didn't care, because at this point, I was so focused on my goal and so relentless about it. And what I kept on seeing was all those rejections were not stop signs. They were redirections.
Exactly.
They were redirections. They were redirecting me to a different place, different people, different things. And throughout the process, I kept on perfecting the idea for my startup. And I ended up when I got that money, boy, it was like I became one with the belief system. And this is important. Only people who don't truly believe in something are the people who try to convince you of their belief system. Those are the only people that try to convince you of something. When you actually are at one with something, when you are at one with your belief system, you don't need to convince anybody of anything. That was the biggest realization. I didn't know. And so I became at one with the belief system that this is the way that the universe works. It's like me telling you, Mikhail, 10 plus 10 is 20. And you go, no, impossible. No, I cannot accept that. And I go, okay, no problem. I don't need to convince you that 10 plus 10 is 20. You'll soon enough, you'll find out. So what I started was this text group, this gratitude text group kept on growing to the point that now has over 18,000 members that I send out these gratitude exercises to. Yep. Everywhere in the world, different apps. I'm sorry? Yeah, you're one of them. Everywhere in the world, different apps in different languages, in Spanish right now, and it used to be in Italian, but the Italian group kind of fell apart. And I send it out to all different places in the world. And then I also started a gratitude and manifestation mastermind, which meets on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. in California time. And we get together and we study all these spiritual principles of manifestation and transformation. And
I
I
love that. So, Napoleon, I was there. You invited me into one of them, and it was so beautiful to see the 50 people, and each one saying what they truly want or who they really are. Everyone was different and unique, and that's what the beauty of it. Some people might have been about abundance, some people might be more about health, some people were about all of them. And I just loved that. I loved every minute of that, and it was a beautiful, beautiful setting that you have. You have amazing people, some that have been doing gratitude for many years, and some that have been doing gratitude just like the first time, even. So that was awesome, awesome to watch, and how everybody empowered everybody. And then one person had a situation, and how you let everybody help them and feed them what they is that they need. And they knew what was beautiful is that that person at that day, she knew she wasn't alone. That this is, even though it can feel so lonely, especially when you're in your stuff, that you're not alone. And people were coming up to her. I was right there. Do this, follow this, call us, text us. We'll walk you through it. And that's a beautiful network that you have. I'm really like so honored that I'm a part of that network, and will always be a part of the network. And so this is going to be an amazing event. And you are such a strong part of it. You're going to come in on the second day when it's about reviving, and your story will revive people, like give them that hope and that understanding. And also, Amma says sometimes some people don't have such big light. You have a strong light. You are like a beacon of light, like a beautiful what's it, the shore light that the ships don't, they can see that you're there. And some others don't have that. And what I always say, and this exactly happens in your network, is that any light is good. You put them in the room, you crack one flashlight, even though it's dim, another flashlight, another break open of your heart, another break open of your heart. And then all of a sudden, everybody's shining their light out and becomes a strong light. And that's your network. It's gorgeous. And so you're going to be working on that on the second day on reviving, and then the realigning on the following day, which is exactly what you are. You're so aligned and you're so thankful and with gratitude to source, to abundance, to the to the all. You can call it God, you can call it whatever name you want to call it, but that source is so there with you. And you're such a beauty that you shine it out to everybody and say, if I did it, you can do it. Come with me. And they say one man can't shift things. You are one of those beautiful men that do. One man does shift. You have more than 18,000 people following you and listening and being guided in such a beautiful way. And I am so honored to be able to work with you and be with you and consider you a very good friend. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We actually met at CEO Space, which is kudos, a great networking place. And I love Bernie Dorman and September Dorman and their network system. And they were able to get us together. And we have 7 million people in Los Angeles, and we got together. So there was a reason. And I think the reason is what's going to happen in the next 3 days, and then forth and then forth. So you're be a beautiful network for people to keep this going. So it's not about the 3 days, it's about onwards and upwards. And I love your network. I really want to thank you so much for coming on with me and being the pillar of light that you are. And we will see you at Release, Revive, and Realign December 21st to the 23rd. And check out the link, rockourworld.com/meditation_event. Or you can always check out the hashtag release, revive, realign, and that will give you everything you need. So it will it's the link that brings you in. So you can see it on YouTube, but you can just go on our site and it's going to be there. Napoleon's information is going to be there. And then life is there. So we'll hope to see you. Press that button, sign up, and we'll see Napoleon and many other people. So thank you, Napoleon. Mwah!
Thank
I
you.
love
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Good to see you. Thank you,
All right.
everybody. Looking forward to being there. Thank
Much
you.
love.